Hey everybody, I'm attorney Mike Contant. Today I want to talk about clerk magistrate's hearings and why you want one for your next criminal offense. So in Massachusetts, whenever the police are trying to charge you with any misdemeanor, you have the right to have a hearing before a clerk magistrate to decide whether or not these charges will ever issue. Okay, it's really important to take this seriously because this is your best opportunity to keep these charges from ever issuing, to keep this off of your record so you never have to see the judge, have to deal with the DA, or worry about any kind of punishment. So it's really important to take this seriously. Now, at this hearing, the clerk magistrate, they're the ones making the decisions, okay? Now, they're not a judge, but they work for the court system. They have a lot of power. Their job at this hearing is to decide whether or not these charges ever get to go before the judge. Now, typically speaking, what they're supposed to be deciding is whether or not the police have probable cause to issue these charges, okay? And what happens is the police, usually someone from the police department, not necessarily the officer that you dealt with on that particular day or evening, will come in and read from the police report. And that's usually how they set up their facts to say, hey, listen, we have probable cause and we want this person charged, okay? You obviously have the right to be there. You can bring a lawyer, but you don't have to have a lawyer. You can testify on your own behalf. You can ask the officer questions. You can bring other witnesses who might be able to shed some light on your side of the story. Now, at this hearing, it doesn't take very long, usually about 20 minutes to a half an hour is typical. The clerk will listen to everything, and then they make the decision. I like to tell people the clerks, generally speaking, do one of three things, okay? They can say there's enough evidence to establish probable cause, and I'm going to issue these charges, and you're going to have to go see the judge and go through the normal court process. That's one of their options. Option two is, after listening to everything, they can decide that either based upon the facts or the law, that there's not probable cause, and the charges shouldn't issue, in which case you're all set, and the charges never issue, you go on your way, don't have to worry about anything. And then there's the third option, which happens pretty often, especially with people who have first-time offenders, is the clerk will look at the facts of everything, and they might say, well, you know what, there could be probable cause here, but I'm considering the person. And this is where we come in. We typically are able to argue on your behalf. Listen, this is a good person. They don't have a prior record. It was a simple mistake. It wasn't malicious or anything like that. In the interest of justice, we're asking the clerk to use their discretion to say, hey, listen, we don't have to issue the charges here. Now, the clerk can use that discretion and do this hybrid, and they can say, I'm not going to issue the charges, or they could ask you to do something. They might ask you to do something like community service or take a class in some cases. That happens a lot with driving offenses. Maybe they'll have you do what they call a national driver safety program, something like that. But they have a wide range of discretion. Sometimes they just say, hey, listen, we're going to keep this open for the next 6 months. If you stay out of trouble, then we're going to close it out and these charges will never issue. But if you do screw up during those 6 months, we're going to bring the charges back in. You're going to be charged with these as well. When I say screw up, I mean pick up additional charges. So the clerks have a lot of discretion as to what they can do with these hearings. But like I said, it's your best opportunity to keep these charges from ever issuing. It's very important to take this seriously and to make sure you put your best foot forward at a clerk magistrate's hearing, because trust me, you really want one for any criminal case that the police are trying to bring against you. So if you have any questions about the criminal process, about a clerk magistrate's hearings, whether you think you should have one for your case and whether you can request one, please feel free to give me a call, leave me a comment, or shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to speak with you about it.